Good morning. Today's video is going to be slightly shorter than normal because I have to go record a book trailer for my new book, but the topic is still important, so I wanted to bring this video to you this morning because I posted something on social media last week and the response has been phenomenal. And I wanted to bring it to you today as career tip number 43 as we're counting down the top 50 career tips to help you succeed in any role. So I am going to read this post so that you guys know what I'm talking about. Today, today we're talking about career tip number 43 is how to show up as your authentic self and why it matters. And here's what I posted last week. Some people around you will not understand your journey. They don't need to. It's not for them. You know what they say about following others. It gets you nowhere. You know what they say about caring what other people think. It gets you nowhere. In fact, it might even hold you back from your true potential. And that's why I believe in charting your own course. I posted that last week across all my social channels, and the response has just been phenomenal. And it reminded me, as I was preparing for today's career tip video, that it is so important that you show up as your authentic self. And yes, it does matter. Because when you care what other people think, you're not showing up as your authentic self. When you're worried about following others and making sure you're in line with everybody else, you're not showing up. You're not showing up as your authentic self. And too often I think we get caught in the pattern of life editing. And that's kind of a phrase I want you to think about today during this video. And it's life editing is what we see all around us. When you post on social media, you don't see that somebody burned their dinner, or you don't see that somebody had a bad day at work, or, as I posted in the past, getting fired was the best thing that ever happened to me. You don't see posts like that because we life edit. We edit our lives so that everybody sees that everything is great and it's all going wonderfully and all the vacation pictures and everything that's happening. And we edit our lives to the point where we edit out our authentic self because we care what other people think. We want to follow others. We want to be like everybody else on Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter. And I'm here to tell you this morning, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what other people think of you, and you should not follow the crowd because that's not charting your own course nor showing up as your authentic self. Now, there is a difference between showing up as your best self and your authentic self. Your best self may be when you have a job interview. It may be that you decide, you're going to show up as your best self this morning. But it's also important that when you show up as your best self that you bring your authenticity into that as well. So while most people will tell you, a lot of career coaches, hey, your best self is different than your authentic self. It is, but it's also important that those two go hand in hand because you never want to show up as something you're not. So even when you bring your best self to a job interview or some other some other event you have going on, it's important that your authenticity still shine through. It's important that people know who you are and what is important to you. And that is why this morning, as we talk about showing up as your authentic self, why your authentic self matters and how to show up, the how to show up part is so important because it is the life editing that we all are guilty of that we absolutely have to stop. Stop editing your life to care what other people think. Stop editing your life to follow others. When you show up as your authentic self, your true authenticity of who you are, that's when you're charting your own course. And don't worry about what other people think of you. And that is also your authenticity speaks to truly who you are. And that's when you're living your best life. So I am so grateful for all the comments and people sharing my post last week and saying, yes, I needed to hear this. We all need to be reminded that we life edit too much. We edit our lives too much because we do care what other people think and because we do want to follow the crowd. But nothing can be more opposite of your authentic self than caring what other people think of you. So this morning, I implore you, I just ask you to think about this week. How are you showing up? Are you showing up as your authentic self? Or are you life editing to fit what everybody else thinks of you? Are you people pleasing way too much? Because if you are, then you're truly doing your authentic self a huge disservice. And so I want you to think about the life editing this morning. Just think about it. Think about it today. Think about it this week. Think about it over the weekend. How much life editing are you doing? And how much self sabotage are you doing to your authentic self? So, as we count down these career tips, keep in mind these are meant for you to put into practice every single day. And yes, I'm posting on social media and live streaming right now. And you see imperfections all the time in my live videos. And I love it. I love it when things don't work. And I love the imperfection because that's me showing up for you guys to bring you these tips every Monday and Thursday. But it's also the imperfection of, you know what, we don't always get it right. And that's okay. But showing up, offering you the best advice I can give you twice a week is my hope, is truly my it's a blessing for me to be able to give back to you without life editing so that you see all the imperfections, all the mess ups, all the screw ups, but that you also learn from somebody who's been there my 25 plus years in business and politics. I've done the trial and error and I've screwed up more times than you guys care to admit, but I always showed up as my authentic self. And that is why my journey is different from yours and your journey is different from mine. But at the end of the day, if you show up as your true self, that is truly all that matters. I see we have some folks joining us this morning. Hey, good morning. Thanks for being here. I appreciate the comments that are coming in. This is great. Hey, good morning. Life editing. Interesting. Yeah, Leanne, it is interesting. Asif says, nice. Let me bring his comment back on screen. Joining on LinkedIn this morning. Thank you for being here and joining me for the first time. And Leanne says, I'm gonna post a burn a burn dinner just to see what people say. You know what, Leanne? I'm gonna post a few more of those burn dinners and a few more of my hiccups and my mistakes and so that folks can see. I love that, so that folks can see me as well. And I love that the comments this morning are really keying in on this idea of life editing because, like I said, every single one of us are guilty of it. And social media is often not real life, guys. I got to tell you that. What you see, all the smiles and all the, people are kind of faking it until they make it. And that's not showing up as your authentic self. And so, hey, Chris, good morning. Some people have life edited for so long that they don't know who their authentic self is. Oh, wow. What advice would you give to them, Chris? That is fire, my friend. I don't have my sound effects on this morning, or I would put the fire emoji on the screen. That's just pure truth right there. Is we some people do. Some of us have life edited for so long we don't know who our authentic self is. Chris, my advice to them is, hey, you can see it right here. There we go. Connect.cicely.me. Let's talk through it. What's led you to the point that you feel like you have to edit your life so much that you can't show up as your authentic self? Let's talk through that. You can grab 10, 15 minutes on my calendar. Happy to have a conversation. Here's the link right here. And let's figure that out together. It is why I'm so adamant in my coaching program with all my clients. Look, we start with knowing your value and identifying who you truly are, who your authentic self is that has nothing to do with your job. But then we move on and we're very intentional about what are our weaknesses and our blind spots. And you guys know I did a 3-part video series on that a couple of weeks ago because your authentic self is all of the positives and it's the negatives as well. So it's important that you do that process of self-discovery. And look, it's hard. I'm going to be honest with you. We spend 8 or 10 weeks when we first start the program really going through the process of self-discovery, and it is a struggle. It's a struggle for a lot of folks. It's been a struggle for me as I've kind of charted my own course for the past 25 years, but the process of self-discovery is absolutely where we must start. And look, now my program's not for everybody because some people don't want to dig deep, as Chris is saying, and go through that process of self-discovery. They just don't. And I can't argue with that. But what I can tell you is no matter what you want to do in your professional or personal life, if you don't start with what Chris is talking about and that part of self discovery, and hey, Sebastian, and getting to know who you really are, you, that's the fundamental core of your authentic self. So, Chris, I appreciate that comment. Sebastian says there's no boss in our organization. We only have team members who are family and family who are team. Oh, I love that. Teamily. I love that. That is awesome. I love it. Listen, you're showing up as your authentic self and your teamily, your family. I love that. I love that you all have that comfort level, Sebastian, to be able to do that. And yes, I see your social media and I love that you show up as your authentic self. I often comment and like and you see me interacting with you on social, and I love that you show up as your true self. You are so phenomenal at it, Sebastian, and I love that you model that for others who follow you as well. So listen, you've got some great comments and folks joining us this morning. I hope that if you watch this live, if you watch this on the replay on the YouTube channel, read these comments that are coming in. Take to heart the dialogue and tips and questions that are coming in this morning because you got to stop live editing. You got to stop live editing because you're not showing up as your authentic self. And look, you owe that to yourself to show up as your best authentic self every day, all day, and to let people truly know who you are. And I love Sebastian's comments about Teamily. That just Teamily family. I love that they have an atmosphere where they can show up as their authentic selves every single day. So thank you all for joining me this morning. I love the comments. I'm just going to leave you with this thought, with that quote that we had on the screen. Your journey is not for everybody. It's not for them to understand your journey. It's not for them. Chart your own course, find your own way, and show up as your true, authentic self.